My name is Al Bond. I'm the Executive Director of the Avalon Foundation. I want to welcome you all to Small Painting Sunday and our Judges Talk. We have some awards to do for the small paintings, and then we'll start up to talk about the big ones. This is an event that has been going on for quite a few years now, and it was founded in honor of Susan Bryce. Some of you, I'm sure, knew Susan, but if you didn't, you really missed out. She was such a special person. She was a board member for the Avalon. She was an art collector, and she was one of those people that really found beauty in life and shared it with so many other people, which I think is just, that is how we should all be living. With that said, we also have a sponsor for Small Painting Sunday, September 1st Partners. Jill, if you want to come up here and help out. Yep. And the reason why we are all here right now is for Nancy Tankersley, our awards judge, who has been working hard all week long. We're going to present the Small Painting Sundays Awards and then have an opportunity to hear from Nancy about her selections in the main competition. So Nancy, would you come up and we'll get the show on the road. Switch places with you because this is your turn. Yep. And you're taking it from the top.
Okay. Oh, gosh, I can't believe. Here we are 20 years later. Wow. It's amazing. Yeah. And thank you all for those of you who've been here the whole time. It's it's a lifetime, and it's just wonderful. I just judged the next generation and in the Avalon, and these were all some teenagers and children down to, I guess, 4 or 5, and it was just wonderful to see. Actually, the skill was amazing, but just the enthusiasm and those bright faces, and being able to say to them that whether art is a career for you or a hobby or you just love it so much you like to buy art, you will be enriched. Your lives will be enriched because you've learned how to see. You've learned that there's so much more than, we normal people are, when you just drive down a road, when you see it through the artist's eyes, it just totally changes, and it's forever changed. And so I just feel very privileged to be part of this phenomenal movement, and I love seeing the career path that has been carved for so many great artists who didn't have these venues before. And of course, Plein Easton is the leader, I think, and I'm just really proud to be part of that. So all right, I can go on and on. I'm really terrible. I teach too much, but I'm first going to give you awards for the Small Painting Sunday. And then I'm going to say a few words about the challenge of judging for the main event and the Small Painting Sunday, but let's get going. All right, so the first one is Honorable Mention, $100 award sponsored by September 1st Partners. It's The Bright Side by Abby Ober.
Grab your painting.
Yeah, get it. Yeah. It's hard to get through there, isn't it? You kind of have to come down the middle, I think. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, the second honorable mention, also sponsored by September 1st Partners for $100, is Evening's Promise by Elena Babick. I think Elena has already left for Wisconsin, hasn't she? Yeah, she's one of the artists that's doing a back-to-back, Plein, Easton, and Door County. But do we want to bring it up here? Or? There it is. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, then the third place, which is a $500 award, also sponsored by September 1st Partners, is Take Flight by Daniel Robbins. Is he not here? Yeah. Okay, well, huh? Does anybody get the want to get the painting? Yeah. Very unusual color scheme in this that I was really drawn to. You have to take a look at it closely. Second place, sponsored by September 1st Partners, is Morning Lights by Zufar Bikpov. There he is. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, the last one, a $1,000 award sponsored by September 1st Partners. This is a very fresh painting that to me is a quintessential plein air painting, you know, an immediate reaction to a time and a place, a scene, and has a very Russian feel to it for some reason, if you all are familiar with Russian plein air paintings. This is Windswept by Jill Basham. I think she has to go all the way. Yeah. Beautiful. Congratulations. Nice. Nice piece. Okay.
Uh-oh. You okay? Oh, no. Please not that.
What a week it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this has been good. Okay. Am I ready to go? Start talking about there's Jill's piece. I mean, that's wild, isn't it? It's one of those pieces that you just you feel the wind in that, and you have to step back to really to see it and appreciate it. But beautiful jewel-like colors, just a really virtuoso piece of plein air painting. Okay, so now we're starting with the big competition. This is Fading Light by Henry Coe. This is a big piece. I'm sure you've all seen it over there. And what I like, of course, it's beautiful Eastern Shore. It really evokes our farmland, the flatness, the farmhouses, the trees, everything about it. What I really like about Henry's work is the design. He really understands the geometry of the landscape and exactly where those poles should go, where those trees should go, how to make the viewer feel that they're going into the landscape, a wonderful sense of dimension, which is hard. You know, when you're a realist painter, you are painting on a two-dimensional surface trying to make it look three-dimensional. So, you know, you have to be very conscious of that and learn how to, you know, make those paintings have that feel of spaciousness, and I think he did that very well. I love the color harmony. He has a warm palette. You feel like it's late afternoon, and he doesn't throw colors in that are discordant or that are going to interrupt that feeling of beautiful late afternoon light. So I think this is just a beautiful painting. And then when you go up close, you see all the little bits of color and the little strokes that are, you know, it's like you get a reward for stepping up close. You know, the painting draws you from afar, and then you go in close and you just study it. And every time you go back, you see another brush stroke or color that you didn't expect. That is just a real treat. Okay. So I love that this artist stopped at black and white. And the reason I love that is I've painted this house before, and I've driven by it so many times, and it's been abandoned for a few years now, and it is slowly returning to the earth the way these old farmhouses do here. They don't get torn down, they just stand there until they don't stand anymore, and this one is starting on its way. And so it has a melancholy feel to it, which I think the black and white represents beautifully. I love the tattered curtains in the windows, which give you a sense of the life that has gone on there, that is no longer there. It's beautifully, it's an architectural wonder, the way he has drawn that so perfectly. And it's unpredictable in that he hasn't put the house square in the middle. He's shifted it over, so you get a sense of what's going on behind the house. I think it's just a masterful drawing, or it's watercolor, so it is a painting, but a monochromatic painting, and I think it just works. It's so powerful. It's like a black and white photograph. It just has that sense of nostalgia, the sense of the old, and it's just beautifully done. So congratulations, Robin. Idyllic Oxford. I was really pleased to see this painting by Jim. Jim was in Plein, Easton early in the beginning and then hadn't been in since then, and I know he's been really busy painting plein air and a lot of local events, regional events, and I think he has really matured as a plein air artist, and this just has that idyllic feel of this beautiful little village on the water, and I can just feel myself walking down that street. I know them so well, and I think it's a fairly large painting, and he just did a very masterful job of designing it. And you know, this one in black and white wouldn't have given you that feel that we all get when we go to Oxford. You know, it had to be color, and I think in many ways the color had to be pushed, which is what Jim did. And just a very happy, very, very peaceful painting that you probably can live with for a long, long time. And so real. You know, I think that's what I really, really liked about it. It's my idea of Oxford. And I think he just put it down on canvas beautifully. Okay. this is virtuoso. I mean, I've known Paulden's work for a long time, and he is a good painter, whatever he does. But the more I saw this, it may be an unusual choice for best use of light, but it's very hard to paint midday light. For most artists, it's the least attractive light. It doesn't cast interesting shadows. It's flat. The color gets washed out, and for that reason, a lot of artists don't paint in the middle of the day. They just, they look for the morning light or the afternoon light, moonlight, but not in the middle of the day. And I have a strong sense that this was somewhere between noon and 2, maybe, probably the hottest part of the day. And he did a beautiful job. It could have been an uninteresting painting, except he really brings you in with that beautiful blue tarp and the blue hull of the boat, and then the complementary red over off on the right side. He takes you through the painting with his judicious use of spots of red, blue, some other colors, but he really limits his color. I mean, often, as I know I do, and I have from the time I started painting, you get so enamored with color that you think the more color you put on, the more colorful a painting will be. But it's really the opposite. You have to find those colors that you want to celebrate and then support them with a lot of neutrals and grays, and he just really does that beautifully, and it just looks like it was painted quickly, a really honest response to the scene, and is really a fine painting. So congratulations, Paulden. Wow. I'm not a watercolorist, and I turn this way? Oh, you're not talking to me. Okay. They have all this tech talk going on. I think watercolor is really hard. I mean, you've got to know when to stop, when what you've put down is, as it dries, it's going to make the mark that you wanted it to make. The thing I like about Orville's painting is, well, first of all, the shapes. The shapes are wonderful. They're very calligraphic in a way. They're, like beautiful handwriting that says so much. And this part of the painting is just so mysterious. And this one, you really have to see it in person, because I guess he does lots of things like picks up the paint, and I don't know all the techniques involved with watercolor, but it's just not pure paint being laid down. It's being laid down, it's being taken up again, it's knowing when to leave big passages without a lot of detail, when to zero in, when to get those shapes right. And this is a painting really all about shape. Shape and atmosphere, mystery, but look at the beautiful way he frames the painting with that, that structure going up on that right side and around the corner, and balanced with this big massive hulk here, and then these two strong verticals or diagonals going down to the figure, which is the focal point. And I'm sorry these little blue things are in the way. I'm gonna recommend against that next year, but it's because you're not seeing a lot of the wonderful things that are in this painting. So make sure you go back to the Academy afterwards and see them before they're taken down, because I think it's really important to see them in person. But this one won Artist's Choice at the big event, so I feel very happy that I chose that for Best Watercolor. And believe me, there are a lot of good watercolors. These watercolorists are tops, and it is really hard to find one but this one just had a sense of mystery that I found really, really appealing. So congratulations, Orville. Okay, Oxford Serenade. There are a lot of great nocturnes, and that's what makes it so hard when you have to select one for one award. The design. I love the spareness of it. I love the fact that it's acrylic, which I think is a new medium for this artist. So he was trying something new. I'm familiar with his work, and I'm used to Vlad's beautiful twilight marine scenes, softer colors, and they're beautiful. And so this was a real departure for this artist, and it was it was kind of thrilling to see. It's a tiny little piece, and I can't walk away from the microphone. I should have brought myself one of those pointers, because the truck is very well described on the side just because of shape. You don't see the details. You don't see the license plate. You don't see any bumper stickers. It's that shape, and that shape is so perfect that it says everything it needs to, that this is a truck at night. There's light shining on it, and then off in the distance there's something. There's lights. There's that beautiful, beautiful blue square. We don't know what it is, but we don't need to know what it is. We know just by glancing at that it's Oxford. I recognize the storefront that it's in front of. I don't know the name of it, but I've been there. I've seen that before. And to say that much with so few strokes and so few shapes is really quite amazing. So congratulations, Vlad. Wow, this is a beautifully quiet painting. And in fact, the other painting that he had could have been up here too. I really had a hard time deciding between the two of them. The other one was an alley scene, late afternoon alley scene, and I thought it was just as beautifully painted. It's just really carefully observed and beautifully designed. I mean, feel the sense of 3D in that, and the way that front of that boat almost seems to come off the canvas. But the thing I really, really loved was the beautiful colors on the bow of that boat. You have to go up close and see the subtle, he has a bunch of color there, but they're all in the same value family. So it works as the side of the boat in shadow. And artists, those of you that aren't artists, value basically is the lightness or darkness of a pigment. And if he were to put, he's got some beautiful green there. If that green were not exactly the right value, it would not fit into that side of that boat. It would stick out or look funny. And he has just kept his values so intact in that. It's just, it's quite lovely. And then he leads you through the painting by the diminishing poles, that very strong line going from inside the roof of the shed. And then he surprises you, he rewards you with this red door. I don't know if the red door was there or not. This may have been something that he decided to put, or it could have been, there. But and this is also an example of the power of grays. This is a painting about grays. The ground is a brownish gray, the path is a bluish gray, the boat is a greenish gray. They're all different colors of gray, yet it's a very colorful painting, and you really need to go see it to understand how much color there is in here, how carefully observed. Antoine is somebody I've just met one other time, and I'm really anxious to see what he brings us in the future, because I think he's a really strong painter. Pop-Up Gas by Scott Pryor. I've known Scott forever, and he's actually one of our first artists to come from California for Plein, Easton. And Scott is a gritty painter. I think Jean Stern has described him as a master. I don't know exactly what the quotes were, but a master of getting that gritty reality of city scenes, city streets, people at bus stops. He doesn't try to embellish. He doesn't try to make beautiful. He paints it as he sees it, and he designs his canvases very carefully. His values are always spot on. You really get the feeling of bright sunshine and shade. It's just kind of pure Scott. And at first I thought, well, there were lots of other ones up for best architecture, but I thought, well, why not just a gritty painting of a kind of unbeautiful building that is just beautifully done. And if anybody is familiar with that scene, they'll know how real it is. It's just really real. Scott doesn't sugarcoat it. He just paints it the way he sees it, and he paints it beautifully. So congratulations, Scott. Okay, I want to stop and talk about my choices here. This is probably the first time there's been an artist judging that knows so many of the artists. I've judged many competitions, but I'll know a handful of the artists. But this time I knew almost all of the artists, not all of them, but almost all of them. So in a way, it's, the old familiarity breeds contempt. Well, it didn't breed contempt because there's no way you could be contemptible about any of these gorgeous paintings. But familiarity breeds familiarity. Oh yeah, there's another masterpiece by so-and-so. Oh yeah, there's another virtuoso painting by so-and-so. You come to expect it because these artists are so good. So I guess in a way, and I didn't really realize this until I was judging, I was a little bit prejudiced to the surprises, to where an artist gave me something that I didn't quite expect from them. And I've known John's work for a long time. He does these beautiful nocturnes, marsh scenes. He's very zen. He's very minimalist. Although I've also seen him do beautiful gouache drawings. He can draw, he's very masterful in his drawing. He gives you a lot of different things, but it's not what he usually puts in Plein Easton. So I didn't really expect this from John. And when I saw this, I went, wow, is that a powerful painting or not? It's like, the shape. There are a lot of painters think the most important thing in a good painting is shape. And wow, does he have a powerful shape that just grabs you. And I don't know if, first it was like, is it mystical? Is it magical? Or is it menacing? I don't know, It could be anything depending on how you are interpreting it. But it's definitely masterful. The placement of the boat, the beautiful blue, it takes you right in there. And the green in the background that is probably artificially lit by a lamp in the boat, or a lamp post in the boatyard. The lines, the thrust of the chalks going up, all the activity is, there's a lot of activity at the top, which is unusual. There's a lot of nothingness in the middle part of it, and then a lot of activity in the bottom part of it. And that's kind of unusual, an unusual design to do that. But it's a painting that pulls you in, makes you keep looking. There's lots of little things at the bottom to look at. Beautiful little touch of red. You see that red that's back there? It's something, like an unexpected gift, a cherry on top of something. And then you go up in that beautiful flotation device that's catching the light. Just the way he did that without overdoing it. And the swoop of the boat. And this is something that painters only know. It's called halation, and it's where there's a rim of light around a light area, so you look where the light of the boat, this light side of the boat has that strong light, and then you see this blue line fading off into the dark sky, and that's what we call halation. It's the idea that the light is bouncing back into the atmosphere, and I just love that. I just really, really love that. So, well done, John. You dug deep. Yeah. Don't you love the yellow? I mean, yeah, it just draws you in. Another one. I mean, how many good paintings were there of Waterman and life of Waterman? There were a lot. So this is a very difficult one. Not to say that this is not deserving the award, the top award, because it definitely is. Richie is, well, he's just so competent. He's another watercolorist, but Richie comes from Austin, Texas. I've seen him at a few different competitions, and his work is always really strong. But I love this. I think this is at the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum, probably where they're restoring an old workboat. Perfect title, Restoration. It's well designed. Color is incredibly well balanced. It's very abstract in some ways, these kind of abstract shapes across the top that are really kind of indicative of what's going on outside that canvas. You kind of get this feel of translucence of the canvas. And then, of course, the two figures that are our watermen talking about hard work ahead. I've painted that scene myself. I know that posture and the way they discuss, the next step. But fun painting. Just a lot of really fun strokes, fun detail, and beautiful balance of color. I love the red over in that corner that balances the red on the hull. Works really, really well. And then the grittiness of the hull that he's applied some washes and some small strokes that will indicate that. It's just, it's a beautiful piece. Congratulations, Richie. You got to get that blue bubble off there. I'm sorry, graphic designer, whoever did that. This was such a surprise to me. I've known Susan's work for a long time. She does beautiful pastoral scenes and usually very calming, very serene, well designed, but I never feel like design is her first goal. Atmosphere feeling probably has been more, I'd call her a quiet painter. This is like an Andrew Wyeth. It's, the spareness of the design is phenomenal. The way she focused everything in on that hayloft, and everything around it just reinforces this feeling of this hidden corner of the hayloft that is just empty of life right now, but has had life in it. There's something, I don't know what that little thing is over by the window that suggests the presence of life there in the past. It's moody. It feels like a rainy day. Maybe she got inside there because it was raining. And I don't know, is that what happened? It was raining, so you went inside this barn and sought shelter, and she's using natural light. There's no artificial light. She's just responding to what she saw. And that, to me, is what plein air is. It's an honest response to what you're given on that particular day or time. And that's what I find just so fascinating and so strong, such a wonderfully realized painting, Susan. So congratulations. And this is another one you must see in person. You need to go over there. Okay, the light, the light, the heat, the feeling that you get from a boatyard. It's pure Patrick Lee. Patrick is a very, I wouldn't call him a minimalist painter, but he's a spare painter. He only puts down what is necessary. You know, he puts the strokes that he thinks will have the most impact. He looks for the abstraction and what he's looking at, and he's found that very well. He's a wonderful design that takes you up to that triangular roof. Then the triangle is repeated several times with another triangular roof, the triangles of the empty space of the rafters. It's just a very enjoyable painting to look at. The blue shadows. Often painters paint shadows too dark, and I know that's something I struggle with. Patrick has managed to keep the light in the shadows by his choice of blue. There is just a strong feeling of the type of shadow you get on a really bright, hot day. And I think he has captured that beautifully. I love the little shapes that the shadow on the bottom right gives you. I don't know if it's chalks. It's the shadow of another boat, and there may be, you know, the supports of the boats, and then you get those little dots of color. It's a lot of music in this painting. You know, a lot of staccato, a lot of kind of empty, long drawn out notes, and then a lot of sharp notes. It's pure Patrick Lee, and one of the favorite ones that I've seen in a long time. So great job, Patrick. Oh God, Christine Lashley. This to me, this is second place, and unfortunately Christine is in Door County. I know Christine, I know her work, I know that she is, you know, a good painter, but this to me was going beyond a lot of her painting, because I feel like it is such an honest response to the landscape and the day. Any of us that live here, we know that scene. And I think what happened, she was caught in a rainstorm, and then she did this after she was able to get outside, and she took advantage of the puddles in the field as design devices. There's some beautiful stuff underneath the blue bubble that you must see. And a lot of little abstract designs that, you know, give you the feel of all the little things that happen in the field close up. And then one thing I really loved is that collection of buildings over to the right. She didn't belabor it. A couple of strokes, different values, gave you the feeling that what they are. You know, they're just old lean-tos with probably farm equipment, you know, storage sheds. And it doesn't distract, it adds. These beautiful bits of blue over here on the lower left-hand side that kind of lead you in, and you kind of dance around that pond that's been created by the storm. The diagonal rows lead you back, you stop, and you see the structures, whatever they are, and then you go way back in the fields, because she has really done that aerial perspective, that feel of trees in the distance beautifully. She has nailed that. Those scudding clouds that are moving after the rainstorm, she captured them. And what I really like, when I went up close to it, I could tell this was just spontaneous. This was not planned. It's very thinly painted. There's not a whole lot of paint in a lot of parts of it. And she was on. She put the paint down. She knew it was right, and she left it. And I don't know if she painted this in one afternoon or not. I wish I'd asked her that before she left. But I just feel like it is so honest, an honest response to the conditions that she was given on that particular day. And it's beautifully harmonious, too. It's one of those fields that, we get that goldy green color when the field has really lying fallow in summer. Unfortunately, it's probably had insecticide or fungicide or whatever. It's been killed off, and it leaves that kind of beautiful field waiting for its fall planting. And it just has I first questioned, should the trees have been greener? But then I thought, no, the harmony of this painting. It's a beautiful, beautiful painting. And those paintings are off, those trees are off in the distance, and that gray works just right. So this is really a gorgeous painting, and I wish I were here to congratulate her, but I already did. And I know she's up in Door, Wisconsin now. So, okay. To be honest, and Jessica will vouch for me, I had a bunch of paintings for first place. That's what you do. You write the ones down you think are really great, and you keep going, and you go around, and you start. Yeah, she was like, oh, God, Nancy. I took every bit of time there was. But every time I went around the room, I know. They don't give you a lot of time, believe me. No, I'd say 3.5. Plus, I had to judge the quick draw, too. So, not the quick draw, the small painting Sunday. So, anyhow, I kept coming back to this one. I liked it at first. I liked a lot of other ones, too. But every time I came back to this one, I saw something else. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. It was bold. He broke a lot of rules, and these are the rules I teach my students. That the focal point is obviously the light on that boat. And why is it obvious? Because your eye naturally goes to where the light and the darks meet and the sharpest edges are. And so you would think it was about the light on the boat, but it's really about the shipwright's apprentice, which is this beautifully realized figure up there, and it's probably hard to see in this slide, but there is a figure at the top of the third boat that fits into the atmosphere so beautifully. And often when you put a figure in the painting, it immediately becomes the focal point. And this is hard to put a figure in that is his focal point, because that's what he titled it, but he's kept it, almost hidden. So like it's almost a surprise when you find that figure up there, way at the top of the painting. So I really loved that about that. That the figure, the focal point is really almost, you have to go in search of it, which kind of takes you on a journey through the painting. And then the other thing is that big boat in the front takes up almost half the painting. You could get stuck on that boat and not go anywhere else, except that he has kept the values toned down. He's kept that boat mostly in the shadow. He's got detail in it, which you can enjoy. He even has the boat number on the hull. But he's kept the value so that it doesn't jump out at you. It's something you discover. So I love that. And there's lots of little interesting tidbits in that big boat. And then, bam, you get this color, this turquoisey color, up against the red line and the white of the hull that just really stops you for a moment. This is an aside. Those of you that are plein air history aficionados, go back to Tim Bell's painting, The Good Son, that won the grand prize the second year. It's kind of the same thing. Tim's got this side of this boat in the middle of a square painting where the light is so bright it kind of stops you. And I thought, I didn't realize that until after I've been looking at this for a while. But then you go and you travel through, you go past, you go up on that boat, you admire the net and then all the little gifts of jewel-like things sitting on the windowsill. And then you go past that and you exit through the back where you see the yellow and the blue. So it's a painting that's got a lot of depth, and you travel very nicely. And then the rule that he broke that I think is pretty gutsy is one of the rules is your strongest color needs to be in the front, in the foreground. That's because that's how we see everything close to us is stronger. As it goes back, it gets grayer and grayer. Well, he's put these two bold orange shapes up there. I don't know what they are. There's something having to do with the inside of a boathouse, but they just balance everything else. And they're very bold. They're very richly colored, but they work. And, sometimes artists have to depart from what is there and paint what they know the painting needs. After a while, you stop looking at the source and you start looking at the painting and questioning, how do I balance it? How do I distribute the color better? What can I do, to make this design work better? And I feel like there may have been some of that going on with this. I mean, I may be wrong. He may have just totally observed it, but I think he made some intelligent decisions while he was doing it. And the other thing is, there's a favorite artist of mine that talks about musicality of paintings, and his name is Stuart Shills. He's from Philadelphia, and I mean, if I were Stuart, I would stand up here and sing a song, but I'm not going to do that. But it's almost like you've got this big cello and oboe that's taking you in, and that's what the first boat is. And then you've got this, crescendo of color, and then you've got these little staccato, arpeggio or something over off to the side. And it's just, there's just so much music, so much variety of shape, and a lot of color. At first, you don't think this painting is colorful, but the more you see it, and you see it in good light, you realize how much color he has successfully sprinkled around the whole painting. The whole painting's colorful. He's repeated the colors over and over again. And that's what happens to pull a painting together. Sometimes you have to repeat colors that are used one area and then find a way to use it in a different area. And he's done that really beautifully. I could probably keep talking about this, but I think that's probably enough. But I encourage you to go over and get lost in this painting, because there's a lot to see. There really is. So that's the last one, and I want to thank you all for coming. And go buy some more art.